It certainly balances the spirit world, which is why it's around these banyan trees.
Balance is what we need. That's how we live. That's the key of life.
Jan, welcome to Double Espresso Studios, all the way down here in gorgeous Legian, and to significant podcasts by the Yak. I'd just like to introduce you, because obviously you and I have known each other for a while, but when did you first come to Bali?
Here in Kuta, 1974. Yeah.
Wow, I mean that's like 50 years ago.
Yeah,
and you're only 54.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Just arrived.
Still learning. So those days it must have been fantastic. So you were telling me a bit before that you surfed, played football.
Yeah, that was the idea of the day. Surf and then football for sunset. There was nothing much to do than enjoy life.
Right, because now there's so much more to do than enjoy life. We're all so busy,
Exactly.
Right?
Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Right. Because now I've noticed that life seems to be perpetual rush from one thing to the next to make all these plans work and stuff.
That's why I came back to Bali. Yeah.
Right. What, but to stop that?
No, because I escaped that.
Right, you escaped that. You see, I'm finding that that's happening to me, and I'm here in Bali, so I'm finding it a little bit hard. So it's very interesting that you recently decided to kind of move back into what we call the original way of being in Bali, which would be more in the mountains, more meeting jungle people.
Yeah, because Bali has kept the traditions. And the tradition is the roots, and we need roots. So I came back to Bali to refine my roots, like when somebody dies in the West, it's hidden. You don't see your grandpa. Everything gets black. Here, it's all live, it's on the table. Everybody puts their hands on it. The families all around, from the youngest to the oldest. And we go on and on, day after day, celebrating this beautiful person who is still here and is slowly passing away.
Right. Yeah, Bali does have, because obviously you're very in tune with the celebrations, the Bali culture, and the agama, tirta, the holy water, religion.
Yeah, water is everything, but it's here is respected. A few years ago, we had this Japanese who came, and he was a guy making macro photos of water, and then he would freeze it, and he would make like the flake of snow, and then he would see that the water is not the same when you speak to it, when you react to it, when you put the water in different situations. But I spoke to him when he came here, and he said to me, I'm quite amazed, because I go around the world and I am the new expert on water. And I realized, wow, if the photographer who is doing that as a hobby becomes an expert of water in the world, that means we don't know much of water. And that's like, wow, we have to work on that,
Well, and then we are made up 70% of water,
yeah.
Right? So we should be really careful and mindful what we say, what we do, how we treat our bodies, and all that.
Yeah, that's why I drink a lot of water.
Cheers to that. Cheers to the beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I hope one day Bintang will use the Balian water, that is the water from the Gunung Agung,
right,
and make a Bintang with the source water from here, because
that would be a good
basically
idea.
It's like whiskey. What makes a good whiskey is the water in it.
Is the aquifer. Let's bring you back to, you have been in Bali for a long, long time.
Yeah.
You are very connected to the Balinese community, and when I say the Balinese community, not just the superficial community, but very much also into the, what we'd call the well, I suppose it's the Chokordas and the Brahmins.
Yeah, there's many layers in Bali. It's a very deep culture. As I say, it's rooted. In Bali, you have it's so powerful,
It's
the
a caste
energy
system, but we don't
that
really want to say that.
when you arrive in Bali, Bali takes you or rejects you. So a lot of people living in Bali today have been taken by Bali. Mm-hmm. The earth is the magnet. Mm-hmm. And Agung is one of the 10 most powerful volcanoes in the world. Therefore, very powerful. It can stop the whole world, stop the sun to shine on the world, and stop food on the world.
That would be good or bad for climate change.
It's a powerful guy.
Right.
So the people around Agung, around this volcano, are selected to protect and to balance it. And many years ago, there was the biggest ever reunion of Ketchak dancers.
Which you organized?
Later. But the first one was in the 63, I think, 1963, and it was on Gunung Agung, on the Mount Agung, and was 200 Ketchak. And then Agung exploded. Therefore, they never did it again. They said, oh, this is too much energy. Now, what happened, the bomb in Bali was hell in paradise. And we were in paradise, and we didn't want to lose paradise. So
you were saying before that, hell in paradise, and then half the people around the world knew suddenly where Bali actually was.
Yeah, it advertised the paradise to the world. And that's why Bali boomed after the bomb. But at that time, some people like Tina stepped in and said, I have to do something now. There's a threat to the world here.
Bali for peace, yes.
And she did Bali Cinta Damai.
Yeah, Bali loves peace.
Bali loves peace.
With
and
Lucia
then she made
and
T-shirts.
Josh
Lucia.
Yeah.
So the T-shirts, and everybody was wearing the T-shirts.
Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Lucia.
Tina.
Bali loves peace.
And so she had this impulse, because she's a person full of love. And I had the same impulse at that time, but I did it in a different way. I did 1,000 Ketchak. Not to make Agung explode again, just because I did not believe that Agung exploded and killed people at that time because of the 200 Ketchak. At the contrary, I thought that the 200 Ketchak must have been called to calm down Agung so it didn't kill more people. And therefore, after the bomb, I did 1,000 Ketchak with no tickets, nothing.
But a bit further away from Gunung Agung.
Yeah, we did it in Gauda Vishnu Park on the hill at full moon. But and we sent a letter to everybody, an email saying, if you want to come, you can come. Governor, police, everybody came. But no, everybody sitting on the grass. There was nothing. Just for the event of calming down everything after the bomb. I had this vision of a sort of big stone in a pond, sending vibration, calm down with good vibration. And we had bad vibration with the bomb.
Right, very much.
And I wanted to calm down everything. So I had this reaction. Tina had her reaction in her way. So much later, when we had the coronavirus that stopped the airport and put everybody in stress.
Sorry if I could interrupt you for a second, because that whole thing about calming Bali down, going back to the fact that some people are very much taken with Bali, that's the Schumann resonance, which is a earth resonance that Bali is very strong with. I think what I was most surprised at with your 1,000 Ketchak, I mean, that's a huge amount of people.
Yeah, it takes time to put together.
and it was before the day of social media, is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no social, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, no Telegraph, no Telegram, no nothing. So I thank you for that, because I think that was really instrumental, and that's been huge. And that has led you to where we are today, and why we're here today at Double Espresso Studios is to talk about Poleng, your Bali Poleng event.
Yeah.
So let me just backtrack to everybody. It's an event that will happen on the 21st of January in 2023.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what Poleng is, it's this fabulous black, white, and grey fabric that you've seen around Bali, usually wrapped around big old banyan trees. It's very sacred. It's a balancing fabric. It balances nature. It balances emotions. It certainly balances the spirit world, which is why it's around these banyan trees. So, Jan, tell us a bit more about where you came up with the inspiration, and then we'll just talk a bit more about that.
Poleng is the symbol of balance. Balance is what we need. That's how we live. That's the key of life. It's very important, and we are losing it. That's why we have pollutions. That's why we have virus. All that is made by unbalance. Now, I came up with a different way because the Ketchak, which are the trance dance, when you have 1,000 men coming, chaka, chaka, cha, this is extremely powerful. We had people from all around the world who came to film it because Jane, that you know, organized that. I didn't want anything, but they had goosebumps. There's not one camera of professional people from Japan, Canada, France who could film it. It was so powerful, the energy. Only one guy, is Duchamp, Jersey. He had a crane.
Rest in peace.
And that's the only footage that we have because he had a crane. Everybody was shaking. That's energy. Energy is everywhere. Energy is life. Energy is what we need. And this is what the Balinese put around the big trees, the big rocks.
The security guards.
The security guards. Yeah. You have 22,000 pecalang, which are the security guards of the temples, of the tradition in Bali, are all dressed in Poleng on Nyepi. There are much more during the year, but for Nyepi, you have 22,000 pecalang in the streets of Bali. Wow. They are the only one allowed out in the street. Bali is the silent day, day of silence. What we are doing now is the day of balance. So it continues there. So when I saw the Ketchak arrive, which also are dressed in Poleng, their all-day sarong is Poleng. I had this vision of 1,000 Ketchak that came, and I took off all the Ramayana, things like that, to make really like a surfing wave of people around a big fire. And those layers impressed me, and I had this vision, wow, it should be great to have that in Bali. And then years passed by until the coronavirus, and some people came to me and said, hey, what we do now with this situation? You know, it's 1 year we have no income, and it's 1 year the airport is closed, where are we going? And I said, yeah, so I put people together, wrap them in Poleng. And then some priests went and got in trance, another one speak there and didn't sleep all night, and they all came back to me and say, we are doing that. I said, okay, do it. You know, there's nothing to do with me.
Right. Because they very much do go and commune with the Dewa Bataras, which are the deified ancestors.
Yeah.
And to get the okay or the no okay. And a bit more about the Poleng, when you talk about balance. Obviously, it's the white of life, the dark of life, and then the grey in between, right? So
yeah. Black is not
an evil color.
It's just less light.
Right.
And white is just more light. Right. It's exactly the same thing. Black and white is the same thing. It's just more light, less light. That's all. And what you light is just the energy. And the energy is the same everywhere. It's always there. You don't create it. You don't change it. It's there. You know? But you can get nearer or not. Gray is just the expression on the cloth here, that they call a cane, on the cloth, to bring the black and the white from together. The white together, you create gray. Right. It's just the thread going through. Right. That's all.
So it's the unity of the dark.
So I like the gray because the gray is the concept of this balance. It's in the middle. For me, that's the concept of humanity. We are gray. Life is gray. We are between more light, less light. Now, when we go to too much light or we go to not enough light, that's when we get in trouble because of the unbalance. If you're balancing, life is beautiful. Therefore, the concept that we sometimes are taught that we need to get to this perfection system that is taught to us that you will have later. For me, that's not
light,
right. You know? It's not this perfection. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed just to be there. And you are there in the present when you're balanced. So for me, it's not reaching perfection. It's just reaching balance. So the goal of life is just reaching balance between everything that's happening.
Right. So with this balance, so with this event that's going to happen on the 21st of January in 2023,
yeah.
I gather that your aim is for, which you're already organizing, is for the whole of Bali, be they priests, or Balinese, and any tourists that come, which I'm sure you'd say, come, it's going to be an amazing event, to wear Poleng, to be part of this. So if you could tell me a bit more about the actual day, the event that would take place, and then we'll backtrack.
So it already, first, I'm not organizing the whole.
The
Priest Association is organizing the 108 Bajra. They wanted to do it. They are doing it. They actually did in 2014 a big event, so they know what they are doing. They put 108 priests touring the 108 different temples of Bali and all that. So they did that for 1 year, so to put everybody together, which is the same concept here. So it's all Bali doing it.
Right.
I just had this vision, and they liked it, and they are doing it. You know.
And you're translating for us, right?
And I'm translating
for the rest of us that don't speak
the
Balinese.
idea, I used to go to Pamplona in Spain because I used to surf in the southwest of France, in Osegor. And it was not far away to go to Pamplona. So we all dressed with a little red scarf and a little red belt.
White shirt.
And all white shirt, white pants, or white shorts, white shoes.
San Fermin.
And we walked in the San Fermines in Pamplona. And it was great because everybody was given the keys of the town, and they could party and the rest of the year the town was running properly. And that was the concept. And for me, it was beautiful, this vision of everybody dressed the same way, from the younger to the older, the guy visiting or the guy living there.
Community.
So it's what we need to get back to our balance. We have to also share everything, you know, because caring is one thing, sharing it is another thing. And that's where we are losing now. We are not sharing enough. So this is a sharing thing. And by putting your poleng around your neck, or your belt, or sarong, or something, and everybody doing the same, then suddenly everybody visiting Bali can also meet the Balinese, can also meet the expat that they come from Jakarta or they come from Europe. They are also expat here, yeah, because Bali is Bali. You know? So it's this mix of everybody, but everybody dressed the same. And that's the beauty of this concept. So we did it already in January. We did already the first Hari Poleng, the Day of Balance.
There.
Yeah, you were there.
It was limited though.
And we did before the media press, the conference with all the kings of Bali, because they all supported the idea, because they are the protector of the Adat. And Chokarda in Ubud, the king of Peliatan Ubud, is the head of all the kings of Bali. That's why on the on this Saturday, we are doing an event there at the Puri of Peliatan Ubud. That is the palace of the king, receiving with all the priests. People would come and share all the concept of the Poleng to build up all this till the big event on 21 January 2023. So already Saturday, we are doing an event, and please join.
I'm going. So let's talk. So basically, there's two sides of this. So that you're doing some lead-up events.
Yeah.
Right. One of them, which is definitely one that is the kings inviting quite many people into their homes or their houses, their palaces, with their dancing and their cultural gift.
Peliatan is the specialist of the Legon.
Legon, and I've been there. Yeah. So it is amazing. But it's also the other side of it is that you also are doing visits to a group of priests and a group of...
the priests have already started this year. We did already 34 temples. all different temples. The temples has the most energy in Bali, where we go there with all the priests and we meet the head of the villages, because some temples belong to few villages who are in charge of this temple. So we meet the Kepala Desa and the Kepala Adat, which are the heads of the village. And we also meet the head of the temple and the Mankus and the Jero. And then we actually share with them what is going on. Pray with them and share with them. And some expats follow us, and you did, in fact.
Love it.
And so we've been already 34 temples.
And you've got a few to go, right?
We are doing only 42 this year. But next year we will do 108.
So you are going to continue this year on year on year?
Yes.
So it's going to become a very clear part of the calendar.
Yes, because one of the good things also in the concept, as I mentioned, Pamplona has 3.5 million people visiting this small town, dressing in white and red once a year.
For 10 days.
For 10 days. So 3.5 million people are going there just to dress in white and red. So the Poleng Day will also bring people who would come to Bali, because they know on that day they will dress like everybody, they will share it with everybody. The Kechak will be dancing in the street because they all the Pechalang are all in Poleng, and the whole Bali will turn as one community. So for people visiting will be a great destination at that time, because they will be able to access not only the bar, the restaurants, the hotels, but also the temples, the towns, the things, and everybody will mix together. Because today in Bali, though I've been here for a long time, it's still sad to see people being separated from each other. And because they live
sometimes that's a good thing. Sorry, sometimes that's a good thing. Depends.
So it's good that they get back together, and the virus has also put people apart. So it's good that people get back together and sharing, because Bali is a very safe place in the world. That's why we have the G20 coming in November with all the presidents, all the ministers of the world. Why they come in Bali? Because Bali is safe. Bali is a safe place. Why is it safe? Because the Balinese people speak to everybody and share everything with everybody. I think you in Bali, you know everything. No? And that's the best safety you can have.
But yes, that's true, right? Gossips, right? Terrible gossips. But I think also because they've done a few events here before, right? We've had APEC, we've had OPEC, we've had ASEAN, we've had, so it's not Bali's first rodeo in welcoming dignitaries, right? But what I do really love about the Poleng, the lead up to the Poleng event, the main event next year in January, I really do appreciate, and I must say I do thank the king of Puri Peliatan, because he's this weekend. Chokorda, it's going to be a beautiful Chokorda, so nobility, I suppose, not king. It's going to be an amazing event, because I've seen the Legong before, and for me, this Poleng, the lead-up events are actually bringing us back into having this cultural crossover. We're invited, and it's always the best of the best. And it's been a while, actually, that for me, having lived in Bali already for 26 years, it's been quite a long time that what used to be daily cultural gatherings and festivals and ceremonies that we could just join in the street, they're happening less and less.
And see the real stuff, see the real thing, because the Puri has always been in charge of protecting the Pura. Nowadays the kings don't own like before, so they have problem to protect the Pura, and Pura is the temple, the house of the priest. The Puri is the house of the kings, and now they cannot even protect their own palace, which are museums, and because they don't receive anything to support that, so they have to do everything themselves. They cannot. So the idea of those dinners is to support not only the puras and the priests, but also the Puri, because they are putting this whole dinner together, where we'll have all the legong dance, the traditional things of the kings, but also all the things from the priests. The priests are gathering at the same time some healers that are very specific to the priest, and that's why we limit the number of people who come to those events, because each person coming will meet minimum with 3 healers, very specific, will access all the different jamu, herb things that are all the curative of the traditions of Bali. And that's what we want to protect. And all the money collected on that evening, because there's sponsors that sponsors the things and all that, all goes entirely divided by the priest and the kings also, who don't have enough, because they are supposed to help everybody. So it all goes to the tradition of Bali. And we already started also, when I say we, the priest association, the 108 Bajra.
But you do go every time, right? You do go every time.
I go every time. Not every time. They already started a concept of schools around Bali, around the Poleng, that are traditional schools. So all the Balinese children can continue access and learning all the traditions of Bali, like everything, how to pray and how to make offerings and all those things. But at the same time, all the people living here, all the expats, can send their children there also, and also learn how to respect all those traditions. Those traditions, Bali temples are not a religion. There's no books that tell you what to do. It's not a religion. It's a way of living. Everybody in the village goes to the temple. Everybody. It's not one person not going to the temple. It's a way of living. And that's the tradition that needs to be protected. And everybody helps. There's a farmer has his roof teared up by the big wind. The whole village says, hey, at the temple, they say, hey, let's help him. Everybody goes and fix his roof.
The gorgeous Gotong Royong.
Yeah.
Gotong Royong, which is, yes, it's a communal assistance. Communal assistance. And it is one of the most beautiful things. So just to wrap up, Jan, it's been such a pleasure. With the Poleng, we have the dinner on this Saturday, on the 27th. At
the Puri Peliatan.
Starts at 5 p.m.
Starts at 5 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next, if somebody wanted to join a Pura event, Poleng event, when would the next one be?
So the Pura events are like once a week, more or less, except for the big events. When they start, that's why it's 42 this year. It's 50 for the weeks. So it's about once a week. So there's always one, and everybody's welcome to come. Of course, you have to dress a bit like going in a temple. You have to have just a belt and a sarong. That's all.
So they can contact the Yak.
But it's very easy. As I said, there's nothing special. We are just introducing each other. Everybody speaks and everybody eats after, and everybody shares everything. And the priest prepare all the offerings, everything, and everybody can donate for the temple.
And it's just beautiful. And you have a meditation
for the offerings. And
you have a meditation.
And it's a meditation and
a blessing
and things like that. For the Saturday dinner that will probably go once a month after those in different specific place, there is this guy called Dwayne Denton who has the company called the Right Reasons Funding. And he raises money for charity. The last time he did was paddling on paddle boards around the Bukit to raise money for people suiciding in Indonesia.
Yeah, for Royal Foundation.
Where the Royal Foundation, they get like 2,000 phone calls a day of people suiciding. It's quite impressive, and they need money, to just help those people in desperate situation, mostly in now times, So he's doing great job. So he came to us.
Thank you,
said,
DJ. Thank you. DJ. Right Reasons. We love you.
Yeah. So Right Reasons, called Right Reasons, funding, called Dwayne, And
book yourself a table, book yourself a chair.
Do it tomorrow latest, because after it's...
Right. Well, be full. I think it's actually almost sold out. So this Saturday, the 27th of August, starting at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
At the Pura Peliatan in Ubud. There is the first of what we call the mystical dinners.
Is the first one.
Bali Poleng mystical dinners.
It's not only a dinner, but it's also traditional dance, but it's also meeting with healers personally. So each person will have time with different healers personally.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is such a privilege. Number one, to be in Bali. It's such a privilege that the community is putting this event together in the lead up to the one at the third week of next year. And I'd just like to say thank you so much, Jan, because your energy and your ability to communicate between very many different regions of Bali, which sometimes don't talk to each other, is amazing. So I'd just like to say thank you very much.
That's thanks to my motorbike who carries me all around.
Right, because today you're in Batu Karu. And
I
this
do a lot of
afternoon you're
motorbike.
in Legian. So Matur Suksama, Jan, thank you very much. And Bali Poleng, thank you very much.
Thank you.